This service video is troubleshooting of the carburetors. Before we begin, however, let's review the basic operation of the carburetors. Carburetors are made of a number of parts, and these different parts affect the fuel amount in different ways depending on the throttle slide opening. So let's see what the parts are called and where they are located. The most important parts for different throttle opening ranges are the throttle valve, jet needle, pilot air jet, pilot jet, and main jet. A pilot air screw is not used on the RD500. When the throttle is at idle or up to 1/8 open, the fuel amount from the pilot system is determined by the pilot air jet, pilot jet, and throttle valve height. It is determined especially by the size of the pilot jet. When the size is larger, more fuel is allowed to flow. When it is small, the fuel amount becomes less. When the throttle is open from 1/8 to 1/4, a fuel-air mixture is supplied from the pilot system. In addition, gas is also supplied from the main nozzle, since a vacuum is created. The fuel amounts from the pilot system and the main nozzle are primarily determined by the size of the cutway of the throttle valve. When the size is larger, less fuel is allowed to flow. When the size is smaller, more fuel is allowed to flow. When the throttle is open from 1/4 to 3/4, the vacuum at the main nozzle further increases. As a result, the fuel amount is controlled by the jet needle and the needle jet. The fuel amount is controlled by the clip position and the degree of the taper of the jet needle, and by the inside diameter of the needle jet. Generally, it is controlled by the clip position. As the position is higher, the fuel amount is decreased. As it is lower, the fuel amount is increased. When the throttle is open from 3/4 to full, there is no aerodynamic resistance caused by the throttle valve. The amount of air increases, and the fuel amount is determined by the main jet alone. Therefore, the fuel amount is controlled by the size of the main jet. When the size is larger, the fuel amount increases. When it is smaller, the fuel amount decreases. The control of the fuel amount is affected, especially at high speed ranges, when the fuel level in the float chamber is not appropriate. It must be checked carefully because of this. We have now reviewed the different parts that control the fuel amounts at various throttle openings. Before carburetor troubleshooting, two things must be checked. Is the compression good, and are the sparks good? Only when the answer is yes to these two questions may you begin the carburetor troubleshooting. When the engine does not run smoothly, you must find the throttle opening range of the engine where the trouble starts. Once you have identified the points, you can check these things. You must check if each part is adjusted to a standard setting, if the jet or air passage is clogged, or if it's loose. In this part of the service video, we are assuming a problem in the idle system at a low throttle opening range. Problems at the idle speed range may take a number of forms. For example, the engine may not start smoothly, or the engine may not idle smoothly. These problems can be caused by parts in the fuel system, YPVS, or the oil pump. First of all, you must check if the machine is in normal running condition. First, check each of the 4 carburetors and see if there is fuel there. Also check the fuel level in each carburetor. Then, check if the free play of the throttle cable is appropriate. The next item in troubleshooting is to check if the carburetors have been synchronized properly. This can be done by comparing the heights of the throttle valves. The heights must be the same for all 4 carburetors. The next test concerns the YPVS. Turn on the main switch and see if the YPVS is fully open. At this position, see if the oil pump is half open. If there is no trouble at this test point, you can check the intake and exhaust systems. When you check the intake system, look especially for any dust in the air cleaner. Then look for any excessive carbon deposits in the silencer or the muffler of the exhaust system. If nothing unusual is found in these visual inspections, the next part to check is each carburetor itself. One way to tell which one of the 4 carburetors may be causing the trouble is to check the spark plugs. As you can see on the screen, the spark plug from cylinder number 4 is dirty. Then let's check the idle system for the 4th carburetor. Is the pilot air jet clogged? The answer is no. It looks okay. Is the pilot jet clogged then? Uh-oh, yes, it is clogged. This is what is causing the trouble. The foreign particle is now removed. Let's put the parts together and check the result at idle speed. It's good. It's running properly now. As we just saw on the screen, problems